welcome to Call Me Crazy. I'm Erin Mastropietro here with Michael Benatar, and this is the show where we interview inspiring leaders like today's guest, David Sadler, who's actually one of our youngest guests and super impressive resume. David is just a junior in high school, and he has started his own company and a podcast. So, David, we're really excited to hear from you today, how you got started so quickly and what you're up to. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. It's an honor.
So, so is this the cause of last year? Did you not go to school, right? In 2020, you were at home.
Yeah. So basically, from like March 2020, that's when my school said, "Okay, we're shutting it down, and everybody's going to be doing remote online learning."
Yeah,
So you said, "I'm going to just start my businesses now."
Well, yeah, that was the thing, because I was originally when we went on to online school, I looked at it as, oh, I'm not going to be at school anymore, and at the time I was playing lacrosse, so I was like, okay, I'm going to miss out on lacrosse season, and
yeah.
basically everything kind of tumbled down on me. But then I think there was like one week where I just kind of sat down and I was like, okay, there's got to be a way where I can make the most out of this opportunity,
For sure.
and then that's when I started saying, okay, I should create my own business.
And so before the show, Erin was asking, she's like, Michael, what is
Don't
what
embarrass me.
are motorsports? So why don't you tell Erin what motorsports are? So I grew up in Florida. I knew what motorsports were. I know what they are.
Right.
I'm not a big sports person, let alone motorsports, which I kind of
So tell her or anybody that's listening what motorsports are.
Yeah, so motorsports is definitely, it's not as popular in America. I mean, we definitely have NASCAR and IMSA, but motorsports is really race cars. So it's really, it'd be kind of like if you took a regular car and you made it like, and you took a really high performing motor and you put it inside there, and you had great suspension, and you put a spoiler. So it's kind of like if you were to play, this is a really terrible example of the way that I know what motorsports is, but if you guys know Fast and Furious,
Of
right?
course.
Yeah.
Of
Right,
course. Yeah.
exactly. Fast and Furious is like the borderline to what I guess motorsports is, right? That's more or less street racing, but
Yeah.
it's on the same realm. So yeah, definitely motorsports is definitely a fun thing to get into. And I recommend it to anybody that's
How
really
did you get
interested in the
into
hobby.
it? Are you a
Yeah,
racer?
no, actually I'm not. And the craziest thing is that like I actually wanted to become a race car driver, and then my parents were like, heck no. And I
Yeah.
was like, why? And they were like, because we're not gonna have you end up in the end of a barrier because you turned the wheel the wrong way.
Yeah.
And then I thought about it and I was like, you're kind of right. I wanted to become a race car driver, but the way that I got into it was one day, it was like summer of 2018, and I was just about to get ready to go into high school. And I was scrolling through YouTube, and something called Formula One popped up on my feed, and I clicked on it just out of curiosity. And when I clicked on it, it just it just grabbed my attention. And really, the craziest thing about it was how Formula One cars move, right? So usually if you watch regular race cars like NASCAR, right? I know you grew up in Florida, but if you watch things like NASCAR, those cars are meant to really like drive around in a lot of circles,
Yeah.
right?
It's pretty
You,
boring. Yeah.
exactly, right? So like if
Yeah.
you watch a NASCAR race, usually it's like 200 laps or something like that. So in Formula One, the difference is these cars are probably one of the most expensive race cars you'll ever see. So they have high performing aerodynamics. Their engineering is top notch. The motors that they put in there, they spend hours and hours on. And the craziest thing is when you see them in full action, and I actually recommend to anybody that's listening to this to actually go and like just watch like a couple seconds of a Formula One race. When they move so swiftly and quick. And it's really because of the way that their aerodynamics are made. They have a lot of slits and cuts in the car. And what that does is it takes the air and it actually like puts it into the car and transforms it in a way to where that car can take that air and move like from left to right within milliseconds almost. So
And
yeah.
it is mostly like a European thing, right? Like not a lot of Americans do F1 racing. Like it's huge in like when we were in the south of France, we were in the south of France. We were there a week before. What's the not what is it?
Film festival?
No. They have the F1 racing out there.
Oh, in Monaco?
Yeah, in Monaco.
Oh,
You
Yeah.
guys
what's
went
it?
to Monaco?
Yeah. and
Oh
that's
my
where the
gosh, the red
track
light
was
district.
all set up still in the
Mhm.
city. Yeah, it was
What's
like
it called? The
I
I'm
forgot what it was
totally
called,
blanking.
but yeah, we
Monte
were there
Carlo.
like
The Grand Prix.
the Grand Prix.
Yeah, yeah, Grand Prix.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so we
Monte
were there a
Carlo.
week after that, and it was kind of cool to see the whole, just basically the whole city was converted into a racetrack. So,
Hmm.
all right, so you love. What were we gonna say?
No, I was gonna ask the same. I was gonna say, so you love racing, but you're so into the cars and everything. So how do you, instead of taking racing as your career, what did you create, and how is your business now all about racing?
Yeah, so as you mentioned, instead of becoming a race car driver, I couldn't resist the fact that I wanted to do something about racing. Like, when I found out about it and I got really interested into it about the teams and the drivers and everything, um, I was like, okay, I got to do something about racing. So then that's when I, founded Velocity Racing, and basically what that is, it's basically, it'd be like your regular news platform for motorsports, right? So if you want to know anything about motorsports, what's going on in like Formula One or WEC, which is endurance racing, which those races are 24 hours long. Sometimes they're insanely long. And like GT racing and things like that, that type of news is what I report, right? So things like recently Lewis Hamilton just re-signed his contract with Mercedes. I reposted about that, and I'm making videos about those types of things. So that's really what I do.
And
Awesome.
what kind of? I mean, I'm guessing you're playing a lot of racing video games. Are there any games you
Oh
like? Do you
yeah,
have like a rig at home or something you're playing on?
yeah. Actually, this past Christmas, my parents bought me this really nice racing wheel that I put on my desk and everything, and
Nice.
I play GT Sport a lot. That one's a lot of fun. I just recently got Formula One 2020, so that I'm spending a lot of time on that game. But yeah, it's almost like I'm addicted to racing at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So with your new site, Velocity Racing, you have a podcast right now. It's on Anchor FM. We'll have all the links in our description here. But how are you going about doing it? Because I think starting a media company is hard. It's like you got to stay up to date.
It
You have
really
to
is, yeah.
you have to almost beat out these other news outlets that are doing it full time that have like 1,000 people on staff or whatever. What's kind of your take on it, and how are you approaching it?
Yeah, most definitely. I think when I originally like got into it, I was like, okay, I know this is not going to be something easy. No matter what type of business you're doing,
For sure.
business is hard in general. So I think originally what I decided to do was I said, okay, if something comes out, really what I do is it's actually the way when I first thought about this, I was like, oh, well, that's actually very creative. I'm going to keep doing that. I bought a Canva Pro account, and basically I have all of my designs on Canva Pro. So and they're like blank templates almost, right? So if anything comes out, all I do is I write the information in there and I just post it. So I'm not
Nice.
worrying about creating these different little graphics and everything, and trying to make it. It's like the graphics are right there on Canva, and
Mhm.
all I gotta do is fill in the information.
That's
And
smart
then
because I know a lot of people that get started, at least when I did, I was like obsessing over how it looked. You can get, sucked into how the Instagram looks or your website
I
or your
can't tell you
emails.
how many times I've done that already.
And you don't have time for that. You're in school, you've got a podcast, the business is up and running. What were the first couple steps that you did to get started? Because it seems like you ramped up pretty quickly to build this community and the site. And you got all your templates and everything. What were some of the first things you did that allowed you to move so quickly?
Yeah, I think one, and this is for any young, aspiring entrepreneur that's out there. Although I haven't learned everything, um, I would really say passion is a huge part of leading a business. If you're not passionate about something, it's likely that it's not going to get done. And I think that that's something that for me that really helped out was since I'm so passionate about motorsports, I was like, okay, I don't care what it is. It's motorsports. I love it. I'm going to do it. And so that's what kept me going. And also the fact that I would watch like all these like other different platforms like WTF1 and Donut Media and Drive Tribe. Those are all news reporting motorsports like platforms, and I just got inspired by them and their work and what they do. And every single day that something comes out, I do my best to always just try and report it before, other people can get it out. And the craziest thing is that motorsports usually comes out on the other side of the world, which is like
Mhm.
European time, right? and that's like before us. So we wake up and they're basically done with their day.
Yeah.
So when
Mm-hmm.
I post something, it's already out there. So one day I was sitting around and I was like, okay, wait, so you're telling me I'm gonna have to stay up till like 4 or 5 o'clock, like waiting for news to
To
be
get the news
released?
stories. Maybe that's
Exactly.
your strategy.
Did you like hire any of your friends from school to get into this with you?
Yeah, I didn't, I don't necessarily pay them,
Sure, yeah, not hire, but like, did you
right.
convince them to work with you to like, let's do this?
Yeah. I convinced a couple friends from church to come on and help me with it, and they're actually a really big help. They definitely help me with the content and what to post. Actually, if you listen to my most recent episode of the Velocity Racing podcast, you'll hear my new co-host Theo Lumpkin is on there helping me out with it. So most definitely helping having people on board is a big help, and I mean, the more people I get, it's the more is the better. And I always go like, don't be afraid to like come up to me. I'm like probably one of the coolest people you'll ever meet, and so I'm like, if you ever want to help out, definitely, like, that's something I will really appreciate.
Yeah, and I kind of like your passion for it because in high school it's hard to stay focused. It's hard, you got so many things going on. Get your driver's license, you're going to school, you got college in a few years.
Mhm.
I think it's impressive because I don't think in high school I was doing anything like this. I was not, I was going to school, then I'd go home, play video games, maybe take a nap, maybe eat some pizza.
And I imagine a lot of other students who, are also dealing with COVID, they're just like, oh, great, summer vacation starts early or whatever.
Yeah.
And you really made a lot from nothing.
So in the next year, what is kind of the plan for Velocity Racing? Where do you want to see it? How do you envision kind of, your platforms? Are you going to be on social? Are you going to be on, TikTok? What is kind of the future of it?
Yeah, well, most definitely right now, the social part of it is really like 75% taken care of because we're really, I basically put out all of our information and all of our posts on Instagram. So everything is going on Instagram, Twitter. I'm starting to revamp our Facebook page again because I recently just got on there. But Twitter and Instagram are top ones. And so the social aspect is really taken care of. The big thing for me is I really enjoy watching videos about this type of stuff. So like I'll
Mm,
go on YouTube and I'll watch like I'll search up, a recent, like you guys said, Monaco Grand Prix, right? And some of these organizations will do videos on like and give their opinion on what they thought about the Grand Prix. And that's something that I'm like, I really want to do that because I think what's better than, yeah, reading an Instagram post is cool, but I
yeah,
think as humans work, we all want to hear and see things, right? Like we
for
don't want to
sure.
like read an article that's like 1,000 pages, right? Like
Yeah.
we'd rather get right. We'd rather watch a YouTube video and get our information, than read all these words and stuff. So I think videos and doing and different videos like that is something that's really big, and I've got some big stuff cooking in the works right now.
That's great. And
Yeah, that's
so
a good idea.
and so with the site, are you thinking about any monetization? You're going to make some money from it? How do you think about that?
Yeah, most definitely. My biggest plan for that right now is to have a merch line. So
Nice.
I've got some really cool designs in the works, and I'm probably gonna release a couple shirts and maybe like one hoodie and stuff like that to like get some cash flow coming in. But that's a really big thing that I'm really excited about, and also I'm very excited to start my own series on YouTube
Cool.
and IGTV. So like, if you go on YouTube and it'll say like season one of, season one and episode,
Yeah.
whatever. I definitely want to do that and just constantly making videos like every week and just, having fun with my teammates and with my crew that's helping me out with, taking on velocity racing and everything. Doing that is, really like I just have so much fun doing that.
And once you guys start making money, you guys should sponsor some like esport guys that are
Mhm.
doing some racing because I
Yeah.
feel like that'd be great. Velocity Racing just plastered right inside their shirt. That'd be
Mhm.
really cool because the
Yeah.
esports right now are wild. How big it is, like
Mhm.
huge tournaments. Everything's online. Call whatever you want to do. Call of Duty, Fortnite, all those games. I mean, it's just so big, and I haven't. I don't know if there's any racing ones out. That I don't
Mhm.
follow the racing as much, but I imagine that's a huge opportunity for a lot of people
Yeah.
in that realm.
Yeah, most definitely. That actually, there's a lot of motorsports, esports Grand Prix that actually just happened. The Formula One esports virtual Grand Prix just ended. The
Oh,
last
nice.
race was in, I think it was in virtually in Sao Paulo, Brazil. So they just ended the virtual Grand Prix there. But most definitely, like my mom and dad have been giving me lots of ideas about
Cool.
sponsoring different things and bringing in cash flow. And I've been involved in a lot of programs like 100 Black Men of LA entrepreneurship program has definitely been helping me. And also with taking my marketing program at school and getting involved with organizations like DECA, they have definitely been helping me with the ideas and like you said, sponsoring things and getting in cash flow. So yes,
Oh,
my
you
head,
got
my
marketing in high school. There's a course for marketing?
That's
yes,
great.
Yeah, we
yeah.
didn't get that.
No.
Barely got that in college.
What are a few things that kind of inspired you to really keep going? Because I think it's interesting as a young kid, how that motivation goes. Because it's, I don't know, like for me, it was just like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go play sports, or I'm gonna go do this, and it was all kind of a lot of fun. But for you, you seem so passionate and motivated. Is there anything that do you read anything? Are you watching anything that's like, damn, these guys are doing it, and really motivation?
Yeah, I have a lot of sources of inspiration and motivation coming in. Ever since I got into high school, I've been this type of guy that's been like, success is something that like I'm like addicted to it. Like I just want to be the most successful person I can be. Like, if I die today, I want to make sure I'm like the top notch of whatever I do. Um, and that's been something that my parents have taught me, and that's been something that I teach myself. And I think, some sources of inspiration come from, 7-time, a world champion, Lewis Hamilton, actually. Whenever I watch him race on the track, it's like, man, like that dude is just insane. And he didn't grow up with a silver platter in his mouth. He didn't have everything. When he first started karting, his dad, he said his dad just bought a cart out of the back of a magazine, and from then he's now 7-time world famous, Formula One world champion. And so when I think of that, I go like, okay, so you're telling me this guy just happened to get into karting, was good at it, and now he's like one of the best Formula One drivers in the world. And whenever I think of that, I go, I don't care who says what. It doesn't matter. If you're telling me that guy did it, then I can do it.
Yeah,
And that type of that concept right there of it doesn't matter who you are. If we bleed the same blood and you did it and you became famous or you became the top notch in your class or you did whatever, I can do it. And
I love
that
it.
concept, yeah, that concept right there is like, okay, I'm gonna make sure that whatever I do it 100%, and I don't stop until it is 100% or better.
That's so clear. And that's, I think, a lot of entrepreneurs struggle with getting started and the
Mhm.
imposter syndrome. And I think the attitude you have is really inspiring.
I
And a lot of
appreciate
people
it.
need to hear that.
Yeah,
We got to ask you our Call Me Crazy story. You're on the Call Me Crazy podcast, so we want to hear, David, about a time where you made a decision or started something where people might have called you crazy, and you took your passion and went ahead and did it anyway.
yeah. I you know I think one thing a really story that I could say about that is, and this isn't about motorsports at all, but it can relate to life lessons. When I was going into the 10th grade, I actually transferred to St. John Bosco High School, and I've been playing lacrosse for about 11 to 12 years now,
Wow.
and I wanted to take it to the next level. And so I went to that school, and basically, from where I am right now at DaVinci to St. John Bosco is a pretty big jump. The environment, the type of way that those two schools teach are, very different. And I knew what I was getting into, but in the also same way, I didn't know what I was getting myself into. So when I went, my parents were like, we believe you, we believe that you can do it. But I truly have to say that semester of school right there was probably the hardest thing I've ever had to do
Mm.
in my 17 years of life, now being on this earth. Going from, playing lacrosse at a D1 high school Trinity League level was something that I had never experienced before. And, my coach was like, dude, like this is no longer your club team that practices 2 days a week, and oh, they treat you, nah, like we practice every day 2 hours, and you got to keep your grades up in the classroom. Like scouts from Brown University were coming to our practices to like watch us.
Wow.
And it
Damn.
was like, yeah, exactly, right. And I was like, oh God, what what I just do. And so
The bar was raised.
it most definitely, it really was. And so, when I transferred back to DaVinci, that was really because I had 2 years of high school left. And I said, okay, I'm not going to spend my next year of high school wondering, am I going to do well? I'm going to go back to somewhere that I know I'm going to do well. And I know that I'm going to achieve the grades I want to achieve, which happened last semester. And it proved correctly, because last semester I got a 4.5 GPA. And
Oh,
Wow.
so,
wow.
yeah.
Is that
And
even
so I
possible
was,
to 4.5?
I, yeah, I mean, but honestly, I got to tell you, it was one of the hardest things ever. And I still look at my report card now and I go, I don't know how I did that, but it's there. But I have to say, for anybody that goes through any type of challenges, and that is like, is this challenge too big for me? And can I do it? Um, you know, just when the bar is raised and time is against you and so many things are going on, you don't know what to do. I always believe that life and God doesn't put you in situations that you can't handle. You know, that's something that I learned that semester. It was that, you know, you're not going to go through things that you can't handle, and everything that you do in life is to make you better. So when I left that school, when I came back to Da Vinci, I was a totally different person. And I definitely have to say, I thought I was a little bit crazy. Like when I went over there, I was like, oh my gosh, this is going to be the hardest thing in the world. But I stuck with it, and I have to say, although I failed a lot while I was over there, in life, I had a lot of failures. Um, I'm so glad that I did it, because without it, don't know where I'd be today. I don't know if I'd be the person that I am today.
Well,
You're awesome.
yeah, David, this is you're
I,
amazing. I imagine you're going to be very successful as as you continue on in your career. I think you should tell all your friends to listen to this. You're a great inspiration, and I think you're doing it right. You got the right mindset.
Yeah.
You got the right
Thank you.
motivation. You're doing a great job, and I'm impressed. I wish
Yeah.
I was like you. I mean, I'm gonna hopefully we stay in contact. So when you make
Yeah,
$1
most
billion,
definitely.
you can invite me over for dinner or something. I love it. You're doing
Yeah.
great. So the website, you're renaming it, but it is Velocity Racing. We'll put the link in the description because it's velocityracing1.com right now, but it might change when this releases.
Go
And
learn about motorsports.
and
I'm
then
going to.
and then also your podcast. It's on anchor.fm at David Sadler. You can find
Yeah,
it
and
there.
it's also on Apple Podcasts as
Okay,
well, and
nice.
Spotify, like wherever you get your podcast, it's
Okay,
on there. Yeah.
cool.
Awesome.
Well, thanks for joining the show, and we'll definitely have you back on. Maybe we have you back on in like 6 to 8 months after the website's launched, and you can kind of update us on how everything's going.
I also have to say, just in case, if when the website launches, I'm
Yeah,
probably going to put the link in the description of my Instagram, so I can shoot that link over to you guys,
yeah,
and if whoever's listening wants to go watch, look
that'd
at
be
it.
great. Yeah, we'll have everything. So just shoot us over all the links you want to share, and it will be in the description for everybody to see. But David, thank you so much for coming on. This was great.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, I really appreciate it. It's an honor.
Thanks.